Are you a cat?
No.
Can you tell me what a cat is?
This is actually a genuine mistake. I am sorry I even came up here.
And I am a cat. Meow, meow. I'm not a woman dressed as a cat. I am a cat.
Well, you're a cheetah wannabe cougar.
Delaware Councilman Ryan Webb was, until a few weeks ago, a straight white male. But he recently told constituents that he now identifies as a lesbian woman of color.
A councilman is coming out as transgender and a woman of color. Delaware County Councilman Ryan Webb announced that he now identifies as an Indian American woman. Since that announcement, he's received some support, but a lot of backlash, many calling him childish, despicable, even calling for things like execution.
I'm being dead serious. This isn't a joke. I said what I said. I don't know what to tell you. You don't get to question me. You do not get to require proof from me.
Oh, yeah. That wasn't a joke for sure. I believe you. When you say you're a Black lesbian woman, totally believable. I mean, the before and after pictures are just so drastic. Totally not a joke.
The New York Post has a report this week about 28-year-old cybersecurity analyst Lucy, who, according to the headline, identifies as a proud adult baby who wears diapers.
Oh my God. I hate it when people compare transgenderism to these ridiculous claims. It's not the same, okay? Don't compare it to being transgender. It's not the same. And I just can't help but be outraged when people are like saying, are you a cat? Like, do you identify as a boomerang or a squirrel? Like, they're just kind of making a mockery out of transgenderism. And I'm gonna try my best to differentiate and debunk this analogy. First of all, let me introduce myself. I'm Clarissa. I am a transgender woman. I am 32 years old and I live in the Philippines. I have always felt this way, even as a child. So from the very first moment I'm able to start thinking, I knew that I was a girl. So we could say that I was born like this. This was not a choice. Feelings are not choices. You can control how you feel and how you react to situations, but genuine, innate feelings about your identity are not choices that you can make. Who would want to choose to be trans? Who would want a life that is constantly being judged by society? Who would want a life that is this difficult? Who would want a life wherein you actually don't identify with your own body? Who would want a life wherein nobody would date you because you're trans? Look, the only decision that we have made as trans women is to live our authentic selves, is to be true to ourselves. Us taking hormones and transitioning and wearing girl clothes and putting on makeup, all of these are our choices, yes. Choices that we made to align our feelings and our emotions with our reality. I can agree that gender dysphoria is a type of mental illness, right? Gender dysphoria is a legitimate medical terminology which refers to people who feel an overwhelming uneasiness or the feelings of being uncomfortable in your own body and just feeling like you don't belong. While I have transitioned into female, from male to female, I have not become disconnected with reality. I know that I was born male, and that will never change, and I will die as male. And in a perfect world, we will identify with the sex that we have, sex that we are born with, but that is just not the perfect world, isn't it? Going back to the argument of people just comparing, transgenderism to identifying as a cat or identifying as a boomerang or a chair, identifying as a clown or a wolf. Like, these are so ridiculous. Okay, it's not the same. If I told you that I identified as a cat, would you believe me? Obviously, I don't look like a cat, right? You know what a cat is, right? It's a completely different species. It's an animal. No. You would say right off the bat, this is not a cat. A cat is not a gender. If I told you I identify as a black person, would you believe me? Obviously not, right? You can tell I'm not black. You can tell by my skin color. I'm Asian. I'm not black. Race is also not a gender. If I told you I identify as a boomerang, so ridiculous. I'm not even gonna ask you. Nobody's gonna believe I'm a boomerang, right? I'm just not. A boomerang is also not a gender. If I told you I was a clown, well, maybe some people can actually believe that. I mean, a clown is a profession, right? I might do that. But like, to identify as a clown, you better identify as a clown till the day you die. If you tell me you're a clown now, I don't want this to be some kind of gimmick or trend. People are not going to believe I'm a clown either, right? If you see me walking down the street or the mall, you're not going to think, oh, that person's a clown. Some people might, figuratively, not literally. A clown is not a gender. It is a profession. You can actually be one if you really want to. If you're really serious, then take clown school for all I care. Some people identifying as a baby. Now, we were all once babies. It's just... Do I even have to? We know what a baby is, right? We know what a baby looks like. We know when we see a baby, and we know when someone is not clearly a baby anymore. A baby is also not a gender. Now, let me ask you this. If I told you I was a woman, would you believe me? Some of you might say, no, you're a dude, and you sound like a dude, you look like a dude. Sure. But some people might say, yes. I have met people who never knew I was trans. This is not something that I share to everyone. I have been with people at work for like a week and they never knew I was trans. So what's my point here? If you are going to identify as such, make sure that it is believable, that you are committed to this, that this is just not some kind of game or a trend or a gimmick. If you will identify as such, you better fucking commit. Where people would actually call you as such without even saying a word. I want my physical appearance to speak for itself, wherein people would just normally call me her, she, think of me as a woman without saying anything. This is why we trans women transition from male to female. We try our absolute hardest to be passable, to not get clocked, to blend in society, right? So that we can use the women's restroom without being noticed. We put a lot of work and effort into our physical appearance. We take this shit seriously. This is not a game to us. This is our life. And if you're going to compare other identities to transgenderism, I will be deeply offended because it's just not the same. It's not. I'm sorry. If you were not born with the way you identify now, I think that's a trend because you have been influenced by the media, by society, by all the TikToks. And you might have convinced yourself that, you are this or that. I knew right then and there that I was a girl without any social media, without anybody telling me. Even though I was told that I was a boy, I always knew I was a girl. I can't relate to people who detransition, and we're going to talk about that in another video. But I have always felt sure of who I am. I never doubted myself, not for 1 second. I knew I was a girl. And I've been living my life as a woman ever since I was 17. It's when I started transitioning. So if you're saying you're trans-abled, you're transracial, then I expect you to have felt that from the moment you were able to start thinking, like as a child. If not, then I call BS, sorry. You can't just decide one day, oh, I'm this, oh, I'm that. No, this is something that should have been innate to you, something that had a profound emotion. It's just like, I feel like being transgender has become a mockery. It's like, it's a joke. And it's not easy. And people might say, well, you chose that life, so, you have no one to blame for yourself. All I'm saying is that stop comparing it with transgenderism. It's not the same. And that's all I'm going to say. Thank you guys for watching. Hope to see you on the next one. Bye.